Hello everyone, how are you doing? This is Amanda, hope that you're well. So today is the 2nd of January and we are into 2022. So we've got all of the twos lining up all through this year, and today we've obviously got 4 of them. So adds to an 8, and we also have a new moon in Capricorn today. So yeah, let's just get to it, shall we? I thought for the first video of 2022, I would bring through 6 messages from Metatron. All are messages stroke themes that he wanted me to talk about, and they may very well be ones that we come back to through this year, but it feels as though it's a good warm-up to some of what we may be dealing with at an individual and a collective level. Before I get to the video itself, just a little bit of housekeeping to say apologies for anybody that's been trying to access my website over the Christmas and New Year period, angeliccelestialcolours.co.uk. It is very, very slow, and I think basically I need to, it needs a bigger bandwidth. So in the new year, which is now, but bank holiday tomorrow in the UK, so from Tuesday I'm hoping I might be able to get some assistance and get it back up to normal speed. So you know, at the end of the day, technology, very much like ourselves, needs upgrade. So the fact that it was timed very much around that Christmas time portal spoke volumes to me. So anyway, apologies, I know it's slow. There are orders coming through, but I know it takes a lot of patience at the moment. So bear with me if you don't mind. We will get it sorted, okay? Right. Let's get to the 6 messages then. Also, I wanted just to say that I'm not going to talk about the numerology of this year in this video, because I want to bring through Nikola Tesla again, and I'm feeling that he is the king of numbers, and he will have something to say to us about the number 3, 6 and 9, as I've promised you, but equally the number 6 year, so and how we can bring magic into our lives. Okay, so that is for another day. Make sure you're subscribed because I'll be doing it quite soon. Right, 6 messages. Let's start with number 1. The first thing that I kept getting shown by Archangel Metatron over the Christmas New Year period was a snakes and ladders board for this year that we're now in. Now, most of you probably know the game Snakes and Ladders, but for those of you that don't, or indeed just want a refresher, I have printed out what the game looks like, because I want to talk about the symbolism of Snakes and Ladders and why this is the game that we are going to be playing through 2022 at a personal level and also at a collective level. It's also quite interesting just talking about the king of numbers and Tesla and all of these number dates through this year, which are going to be so significant. I mean, think of 0202 2022. I mean, that's going to be master manifestation magic galore. We'll do something on that on this channel, I promise you. But again, numbers. If you look at the Snakes and Ladders board, remember this from your childhood? There are 100 squares, and you start at number 1, and obviously the winner is the person who gets to number 100 first. To be able to get from 1 to 100, you obviously have to shake the dice, you move, and if you land on a ladder, you go up. So you're able, for example, to go up from number 28 to number 84, take a huge jump ahead of the rest of the field. But equally, if you land on a snake, you might be doing quite well at 64. You can slide all the way back to 19 and have to redo those steps. Metatron is saying that every year is a bit of a snakes and ladders game, but this year it's going to be more obvious. Now, rather than fearing what I've just said and thinking, oh my God, you know, it's going to be very easy to land on one of the snakes, having made lots of progress and sort of be back to square one, remember that if you're on your spiritual path, you have eyes, not just here, but in the back of your head and your peripheral vision, I'm talking third eye, which is going to be able to help you suss out the pitfalls, suss out the opportunities that are suspect, suss out the type of people that don't have your best interests at heart. Basically be able to really listen to your own inner compass, your own higher self, start to trust your gut, trust your inner instincts, to be able to, have a warning system within your body so you don't step on the snake and slide all the way back down. But actually you're able to sniff out the ladders that are going to take you higher. So I think the symbolism of snakes and ladders is a really good one for this year. And I'm actually hearing we all have a level playing field. Now, what I mean by that is that everybody has an equal amount of opportunity in the year that's coming to be able to take 100 steps forward. Wherever you are, okay, there is an opportunity to take 100 steps forward. 100 steps forward in terms of your spiritual evolution, 100 steps forward in terms of learning, getting maybe more to grips with your own psychic abilities, clairvoyance abilities. Maybe you want to hone your skills as a healer, a channeler, an author, a musician, an artist. Maybe you're an entrepreneur that's got a new idea or a new business that you really want to take out there. It's as though last year, through adversity, has helped hone our skills. And we're now set for major advancement. We're also set for major awakening. It's very interesting that when we often talk about this year, for example, or any year, being a year which is going to be a mass awakening year. And it is true that 2022 will be that. Lots of people will awaken in 2022. But we often sort of, I think unintentionally, it's as though it's happening to them over there. The ones that are asleep, are suddenly going to awaken. Now, that may very well be true, but it's also true for you and me that we also have degrees of awakening to happen as well. We actually have 100 degrees of awakening is what Metatron is saying. So again, wherever you're starting from now, whatever you think you know, whatever you've been taught, whatever you believe, it's as though all of our senses are going to be opening more and more to what we don't know. And it's quite interesting as well that, again, I've got the energy of Tesla here as well, which is it's the merging of both science and spirituality. Because the thing about science is science always seeks to discover that which it does not know. And very much, and spirituality is very much about trust and faith, because often there isn't physical proof of what we may believe. There seems as though there's going to be a merging of that this year as well. Anyway, snakes and ladders. Is there anything else to say on that before I move on to my second point, Metatron? Snakes and ladders, why have you brought me to talk about this game? He says it's actually one of the first games that people learn how to play. And it is. Certainly if you're my generation, we grew up with this game. And now, I've had children in my home over the Christmas, New Year period. I'm talking about smaller children. And, this younger generation, of course, are growing up with video games and, all of the stimulation that comes from virtual reality and all of that. Not judging it, it's just the world that we're now in. Everything's become more sophisticated. But actually, again, it's an example of maybe going back to basics. And this feels as though this is also about a return to simplicity, a return to more simple enjoyments. And it's funny, actually, I was last night, I was watching Merlin. I haven't seen it before, the series Merlin, and I saw the first 2 episodes. And the second episode, one of the knights tries to take out who will become King Arthur. He's still a prince at that point, and he has a shield, and it has 3 snakes on it. And the snakes somehow come alive because he's able to summon them. He's able to summon the spirit of the snake to come out of the shield to be able to, take down the enemy. And there's something in that in terms of the fact that we can basically either summon a snake, I mean, this is symbolic, which is going to trip us up. It's an energy which we summon unintentionally or sometimes intentionally within ourselves to self-sabotage our advancement. It's as though we can get quite close to maybe the peak or the pinnacle of really making it, for example, or really getting out there and doing what we really want to do. But there's that unhealed part of ourselves that almost wants the snake to come in to stop us from really being able to step fully into our light. Now, the thing is, you can either summon the snake or you can summon the ladder. Which one are you going to summon? It's important that we obviously summon the ladders, because the ladders are the things that are going to keep helping us climb higher and higher and higher, and ultimately take us to that finish point, which is the end of this year. I wrote something down here, and it was quite interesting that I made a mistake when I was writing it, but there's something in the mistake, because what I wrote down was how you start a new year isn't how you are going to end it. That was what I wanted to say. How you start a new year isn't necessarily how you're going to end it. But I actually wrote this. I wrote, how you start a new year isn't how you fix it. And that brings to mind, number one, maybe negative mindset and attitudes that we have at the start of a new year. And if you have that, which is like, oh, well, it's just going to be another year of difficulty, or nothing's really changed, you're going to get more of that. And remember, there's going to be lots of snakes that trip you up every single day that want to get you into that state of being. I noticed it myself on New Year's Eve. Not a big fan of New Year's Eve, so I went to bed a little bit early, and I was just flicking through the news, listening to fireworks going off. Sounds a bit sad, really, but I was fine. But the point was, as the year turned, the story in the newspaper changed, and it was all about, I don't want to get into a big discussion on this, but it was about the New Year's honours list. In the UK, the government and the Queen bestow honours on people supposedly who have deserved, respect and a title. And one of the people that has been given the highest rank of Sir in our country at New Year was Tony Blair, Sir Tony Blair, as we now have to call him. And there was this huge outcry, and I would add my voice to that, which is that he doesn't deserve it. And I just caught myself in that moment. It was like it was a snake that was there to trip me up, which was because I could feel the whirrings of my brain when I read the story was like, oh, right, nothing's changed. We're into 2022. We've got another story which is about corruption, awarding those who maybe don't deserve it, etc. I could have gone on a real bender in terms of, down a really long snake there. And I thought, no, I'm going to stop that thought, because actually there is another alternative to that as well, which is there's been such an outcry to him getting the knighthood of the highest order. They're actually demanding it stripped of him now. Whether that happens or not, it could be the ending, for example, of that system of New Year's honours. Who knows? The point was, I wasn't going to take it into my body and let it trip me up, because what it wanted to do was flatten the energy of the new year that was arriving, which actually felt very buoyant and very happy and very hopeful. That's just one example from New Year that I experienced. There's always going to be snakes that trip you up, whether they're in the collective or whether they're in your personal life. So when you're aware, when you see the snake, you know, it's like you've got a choice whether to let it bite you and poison you, or whether you apply the antidote. Back to Merlin last night, of course, they were able to get the venom out of the snake, and they, you know, were able to create the magic. I might talk about that another day because I thought it was a great show, really good. So yeah, the whole point was Merlin was able to also conjure something to counteract the darkness. So what are you going to conjure this year? Is it going to be a snake? Is it going to be a ladder? Remember, you've got 100 steps that you can take towards better self-development, better health, better wealth, better intimacy, whatever it is that you're working on, okay? So that's my number one theme, and I'm just going to call that snakes and ladders. Also this thing about how you start the year in terms of fixing it as well. What do I want to say there? Let me just pause for a moment. So yes, you can either start the new year with this negative mindset, which is not going to lead you anywhere, or obviously you can start with a more positive mindset. But equally, even that, I want to say, think about New Year's resolutions. We can trip ourselves up on those as well. They can be snakes. They can be snakes. You set yourself a resolution to, I don't know, whatever it is. I don't know, whatever your thing is, the resolution that you've made, and then maybe 1 week later or 1 day later, you've already broken it. What happens? Mentally, you slip all the way back down, much, you know, behind where you already were before you started. So this thing about how you start a new year isn't how you fix it, is also to do with, it's almost like not knowing. This is what I almost want to say. It's almost like a year where we're not meant to really know exactly how we get from 1 to 100. We don't know how the game is going to play, but what we do need to know is that we're going to make it, right? Okay, that's point number one. Number two, I'd like to show you some cards, okay? The cards are from The Secret Language of Light by Denise Jarvie. The first card that I pulled for us for today, or for this new year, it's a perfect card for a new year, is create space. And we've got that beautiful golden light, create space. The reality is that if you want anything to change in your life this year, you want anything new to come into your life, you have to create space for it. That is linked into physically. It might well be that you need to have a good clear out of the closets and, I don't know, a decluttering of the home, but it's also a decluttering of the mind. It's about letting go thoughts of how you think things should be as well. Again, it's this energy coming in of surrendering to the unexpected, I want to say. So create space, and then the second card that comes out is the card of Remembrance, and I'm just noticing that both of these cards add up to 11. We've got number 11 and we've got 3 and 8, which add to 11. So 2 11s make 22. What is this year? It's 2022. So these two are very, very important. And remembrance in this context is about the first week or so, maybe up to 2 weeks, as long as you need really. Make sure that you spend time reflecting on what you learnt from the last round, i.e. the last year. What did you learn? What is it that needs to be honoured? I also feel there's something here about the Akashic record, and I'll explain what I mean by that. This golden vortex here, this golden vortex here, which is to do with remembrance, feels as though it's almost like a golden portal that's going to be basically sucking in to the Akashic, and already has to a degree, but we're now witnessing it. Everything that happened over the last 12 months. And And it's almost as though you're watching it in slow motion. They say when you die, that's what happens, that you see your life in slow motion, everything that you've done, everything that you've said. And this year feels such a rebirth for all of us that it's almost as though there is this death and birth energy within us at the moment. We are like the snake that's shedding its skin. Okay. So everything that you've done is being sucked into this golden vortex. It's sitting in the Akashic. But before that happens, it's almost as though you're just allowed this last look at it, to really remember, to really honour what happened last year, the bits that you're proud of, the bits where you think you did okay, the things that you accomplished, the kindness maybe that you bestowed on other people, the wisdom maybe that you sowed, I don't know, whatever. But equally, the mistakes you made, the things that you did that maybe you're not so proud of, the things you said that you wish that you hadn't, all of that. There's just time to remember that. But then we let it go and we create space for this new golden portal, which is 2022, which is unwritten. It's unwritten. You haven't said the things yet. You haven't written the words yet. You haven't done the deeds yet. You haven't bestowed the love yet. Or you haven't maybe, spewed hate. Hopefully we're not going to do that. But, it's all unwritten at this point in time. So it's just really a moment to be with the energy of the sun, to give thanks to this next cycle that comes around for all of us. And then it's like ready, steady, go. It's interesting that today is the new moon in Capricorn because it's this earthy, rooty feeling to it. It's like we're anchoring something very important today. But before we do that, we absolutely have to honour the past. There's also a big surge of our ancestors around us at this moment in time, really stepping forward to try and help us over the next cycle of life that we're all in. The third card that came out with these two is this one, which is Variance. Variance. And what it reminded me of today is the fact that we all need to get ready this year for variety. It's almost as though as a world and as a species and as individuals, for obvious reasons, we've maybe had to become more insular, or if not insular, we've been more homebound. We might have been country bound as well in terms of not being able to leave our country's borders, and that might continue for a while yet. So it's as though the variety of experiences in some senses may have been less, although of course there's no excuse to not go out of your own front door and discover new things, new sights, new smells. But it feels like there's an opening up to variety, more variety coming in. But what this is also saying to me as well is be prepared to expand your thinking through 2022. Be prepared, or it's almost like you need to have a word with your own ego to loosen its grip on what it thinks it knows. Remember, the ego likes to feel safe. So your ego, my ego, will cling on to that which it thinks to be true. Because if it lets go of it, it might be replaced with something else that is going to take more time to get, all of that. But it's unavoidable through this next year that we are going to be challenged. Our belief systems are going to be challenged. What we thought we knew is going to be challenged. This could be big. It could be very, very big. It could be linked into things such as disclosure. I'm not picking that up yet, but I will be doing a video with Ashtar soon and bringing in the Galactic Federation of Light Energy, and we'll be asking them. But for now, it's like, again, it's this board. It's like there's 100 steps forward for us as individuals, but also for humanity next year. How big is it going to be? None of us really know yet. But we're definitely going to be asked to expand our mindset in terms of what we believe to be true. And it's going to be, again, I'm hearing level playing field. So it's not to do with, okay, so you're wrong, so you've now got to wise up to what I think, everybody is going to be awakening to new levels. And it's our own a process of acceleration and ascension is going to be very helped by listening more and opening up more to other people's view of the world. I'm just seeing a big question mark in the sky, and it's for all of us to question more. Okay, right, let's move on to point 3, but I want to drink my cup of tea before it goes cold, if you don't mind. Hold on. Number 3. Oh yeah, this is a good one. This is an energy that I've noticed within myself, but I know is a collective energy. And I tell you what, as a Cancerian, I welcome it hugely. Anybody that's quite soft and sensitive, this is going to be great for you. But again, I think even those that have got this mastered as a quality, there's still going to be levels of additional mastery within it. Right, what am I talking about? I'm talking about there's a theme and there's an energy coming up through next year. This is point number 3, which is not being a doormat. Okay, I'm just going to call it not being a doormat. Standing up for yourself. Now, I'll give you an example, but this is just an example to illustrate the energy at play and how different it is maybe from old energy in terms of how you might have behaved in the past. It's obviously an example from my own life, but believe you me, there will be so many examples that you can probably think of in your own life where maybe you haven't been able to fully stand up for yourself or your work or your family or what you believe. And in some sense, when you do that to a degree, the doormat energy isn't very far away. So I've had an example, like many people on YouTube or social media, it's part of the territory. It's not something I really worry about too much. But, I've talked about scammers in the past and, I have lots of people pretending to be me. I've talked about this before. That I don't offer readings. So if ever you get contacted by me offering you something, it's not me. We've said all that. The latest scam doing the rounds, which is that people are taking videos and they're setting up their own channel. It's happened to quite a few spiritual teachers, and actually YouTube have been extremely good with me and have notified me every single time somebody has taken a piece of my work, and they've always removed it. But anyway, over the last week or so, and you might be watching this because I think it's somebody who follows me that did it, but no apologies. You need to learn from what you did. Somebody took my Margaret Thatcher channeling, of all things, stuck it on their own YouTube channel. They do similar work to me. It was under the title of, trying to sort of link lots of different spiritual teachers together. But effectively, the end result was they were using my work to get people to go to their website to look at their stuff. And I thought, I'm not having that. So the old me, it's not even the old me, it's the old energy, pre-2022, would have been a bit like John Le Mesurier in Dad's Army. So those of you that know Dad's Army, apologies for all the UK references, but it's such a great reference. Dad's Army, one of my favourite ever comedies, there was this character called Sergeant Wilson, played by John Le Mesurier. And he plays this sort of... a bit bumbling, but, he's an amazing character. But put it this way, in that scenario where somebody had taken something that was basically his, because somebody had taken my work, that's what you're doing, you're taking my work, you're stealing, you haven't asked, so you're just stealing. Sergeant Wilson would have said, do you mind awfully, do you mind awfully if you wouldn't do that, please, It would have been very sort of soft, very sort of, there would be no power behind it. It'd be, I can just hear him saying it. It's like, do you mind awfully if, you wouldn't do that again, and then of course they'd just keep doing it again and again because there's no power behind you saying, can you not do that? That would have been the old way, okay? The new way of standing up for yourself, not being a doormat, is I looked at it and I thought, I'm not having it. And it was so interesting. This energy just I thought, I'm not having it. I'm not having that. So I contacted them direct and I said, you've got 24 hours to take that down. Otherwise, I am going to YouTube. You will get a copyright strike and they will remove the video. And I put it in public on their channel for everybody to see. And I thought, I don't care. But the point was, I did it. It was like tough love. I thought, I'm not having it. I meant it. Can you feel the energy behind it? It's like I meant it. I was not going to be a doormat. You do not steal my work. They took it down straight away. That's the difference in the energy. It's also interesting because there was no part of my reaction to it which was, oh, I'm a poor victim here. I'm a poor victim. Everyone's taking my work. No one's crediting me. Oh, what can I do about it? No one's going to take any notice. YouTube aren't going to help me. The energy was like, no, I'm able to deal with this. I've got my big girl pants on. Can you feel what I mean? Not being a doormat, not letting people walk all over you, standing up for yourself. It's taken me 55 years to get here, guys, and I might have to keep doing this over and over again, but I will do it over and over again. But it's definitely an energy. It's definitely an energy at play. But it's very important that you do it in a way that is still, it's firm but loving, because essentially the person that did that to me and then took it down, they should have learned something from that interaction, which is that is not a moral or ethical way to behave. You don't do that without asking permission. If they didn't learn the lesson, they're going to have trodden on a snake and they're going to be falling all the way down. But that's for them to find out, okay? You just got to concentrate on you. So think about your life. Think about where maybe you've been a bit like Sergeant Wilson. It's like, oh, would you mind awfully if you didn't do that again? You know, would you mind awfully if you didn't keep punching me? You know, metaphorically, you know. No, you know, come on. You know, what are we? We're spiritual warriors. There's definitely this no-nonsense attitude coming forward for 2022. And it's quite interesting because I know a lot of people are going to be talking about the numerology of 2022, very much being 6, which is an energy of love and partnerships and romance, and you know that may all very well be true. But again, there is, if we think about the analogy of love, it's not sort of like that. It's not, I don't think it's a year for like sickly, you know, sentimental, squashy, you know, chocolate box, clingy, you know, on a pedestal, you know, type love. I think it's a year for grown-up love, mature love, empowered love, love of two people who are sovereign in their own right, who can also stand up to each other, who can, you know, call each other out if need be. It's grown-up love, okay? We'll do another video. See how I'm rubbing my hands together? We'll do another video on that. So that's the third energy, not being a doormat, standing up for yourself. You see, the other thing Metatron's saying to me is why a lot of people don't stand up for themselves. What do you think the reason would be? What I'm hearing is it's because at some level of being, we don't like to not be liked. You know, it's like that's the whole Sergeant Wilson energy. It's like, well, do you mind awfully if you, because he doesn't want the other person to feel badly of him. You know, he doesn't want to be the bad guy. Would you mind, even though you've done something that's not very nice, do you mind not doing it again? You know, no, come on, you know, let's do this, yeah. So again, there's definitely an energy coming through already, and we're only 2 days into 2022, of ethics and moral code. There's a great painting, I haven't got it to hand to show you, but it's going to be in the Christ Consciousness deck, which is actually, it shows, I'm going to call it something like the Knight's Code, and it shows this knight and he's about to go into battle. It's the night before he goes into battle. He's in a chapel, he's thinking about what he needs to do, and he's sort of pledging to, you know, God, to his own self, how he wishes to behave through the battle to come. And that's sort of what I feel for this year. It doesn't have to be a battle, but it is a game, you know, and there are snakes out there. So it might even be a good idea to maybe just get a piece of paper and write down what is your code for this year? What is your code for this year? My code for every single year has never really changed, and I don't think it's going to change this year either. It's just that I'm backing it up with a bit more punch. My code has always been do as you would be done to. I think that takes a lot of beating, to be perfectly honest. Do as you would be done to. If it just says it all to me, but you can elaborate, of course, and write your own code. Right, that's number 3. Got Dad's army in, all good. Number 4. Number 4 is owning our power and not playing small. Sort of ties in with the previous theme, but it's slightly different in that I want to bring in the realm of magic, I suppose, as you do. Owning our power and not playing small. I mean, they are quite tied together, these two themes. Those of you that have been watching me for a number of years, so I'm just watching a beautiful flock of birds flying all around. Wow, that's beautiful. The seagulls are just magical. Just talking about magic, magical. What I'm feeling, guys, is this is the year where we really step into and believe in magic. And I mean that in a really, really powerful sense. It's quite hard to express what I'm feeling. It's almost as though, put it this way, I don't know, a few years ago, I remember having a session with somebody, and I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but they said something along the lines of, you realise you're only using about 1/10 of your power, don't you? And I was like, yeah, but didn't really take it in. But those words have really come back to me recently. And actually, it was even less than 1/10. It was probably 100th of what we're it's 100th. We've been playing with 100th of what we're actually capable of doing. And I'm talking here about the miracle zone, the manifestation zone, believing in the impossible, but equally stepping into the biggest, most powerful, most magical version of yourself. It's probably no coincidence that I found the Merlin series yesterday, because it's all about that, really. I'm only on episode 2, but it's all about him stepping into his power and really discovering that he can do this stuff, and actually it's latent within him. He may very well have been given the books and the spells and all the rest of it and the things to invoke, but he knows it intrinsically. We all know it intrinsically. And whether you're waking up now or whether you woke up 50 years ago, again, I'm feeling as though we all have the same opportunity to leap forward hugely this year in terms of really being able to look at ourselves, truly being able to look at ourselves and appreciating our power to be able to heal, our power to be able to manifest, our power to be able to do anything we want to do. And again, if you think about the last 2 years, it's all been about what we can't do, okay? We can't do this, we can't do that, we can't go there. We've had, in a way it's been a masterclass, but we live in a dualistic universe. There's always going to be a swing back. And I'm feeling the swing back. Now, remember, I live in England. I was about to say the UK, but England in particular is maybe freer than a lot of other places around the world at the moment. And I think I'm feeling this English vibe, really. I am an English woman anyway, but I'm really feeling it in my bones. It's as though there's going to be like a boomerang back, not to the way we were, but just to put it this way, when you've been denied certain things for months or years, whatever that is, the desire for them grows, okay? For me, it's been travel, okay? So I have to be honest that even though I had the opportunity to travel before, the pandemic and lockdowns, Maybe it was just because of the stage I was at in my life, the age of my children. I was becoming quite jaded with it. And it's like, I know it sounds awful. You know, I was being given opportunities to travel to different places, but my heart wasn't really in it. It was like I was tired. I didn't really want to do it. Maybe I was actually feeling the energy of what was to come. But now, having not been able to do it, it's like I'm raring to go. And the thing about it is, this is Tesla coming in as well. He says, remember that everything starts as a thought. So we've really got to watch our thoughts at the moment and keep them as hope-filled as we possibly can. The more that we go on and on and on about how terrible the world is, how awful it is that we're all locked down, how we can't do this, we can't do that. Can you feel how powerful that is as an energy? It's keeping us locked down. I'm talking from a higher metaphysical, magical level. It's as though we're all weaving the spell over and over again. It's the reverse of abracadabra. Abracadabra is like, you know, the spell is broken. I actually wanted to call this video The Spell is Broken. That's what I'm feeling this year. It's like the spell is broken, but we have to break the spell. And the only way we can do it is by stepping into the new mindset, the new dimensional reality, which actually puts into the present tense that we can already do this stuff, even if we can't, okay? Even if we can't quite yet. The more that you affirm that we can, the more that you're going to bring in the reality of that situation, whether it's travel or anything else. So, you know, this is definitely the energy of Merlin that's coming in hugely through this year. And yes, I will do a separate video on Merlin. I know I said I was going to do last year, but I didn't get round to it. So it's quite interesting as I look out of my window because I can see another little dog over the road. And a number of you that have been using my Merlin spray are saying to me how tied in it is with animals and dogs in particular. I've had some hilarious emails in from some of you. Tracy sends them to me about people who are just like, I can't remember the details now, but like being in the park and just hearing the name called the whole time. And there's definitely something about animals and dogs and Merlin and the animal spirits as well, who have definitely been grounding the energy for all of us as well and continue to do so. But yeah, essentially what I'm really trying to say, point number 4, is about owning our power and not playing small anymore. You know, take off the cloak of invisibility and start to be seen and be proud to be seen. Again, the Merlin series is very much about the fact that magic had been secreted away. You know, it had been secreted away because it was too dangerous to be shown to have magical powers, to be able to know things ahead of time. To, many of us would have been burnt at the stake for that. But these days are over. These are the days to come where we have to step into our power and actually be proud to show our cloaks off. Okay, be proud to show our cloaks off. This deck, I don't know whether I said it earlier in this video. Apologies, I'm a little bit tired. I haven't had much sleep over the last few days with all the comings and goings. But this deck is called The Secret Language of Light. Did I say that I felt that this title is also saying that it's not going to be a secret language anymore? More and more people are going to be discovering light. More and more people are going to be discovering this magic, this power that we all have within ourselves to change our realities. I literally feel as though we've all been under this spell, and it's as though it's so easy to say, yes, the spellcasters are over there and these are their names. May very well be true to a degree. But after that, the ones that are keeping the spell alive are us, by continuing to reinforce the language of can't. No wizard or witch worth their salt ever says I can't do. They always say I can. That's the whole point of magic. You can. I believe. It's not like, oh no, I can't do that. I can't. That's what we've all been saying over and over and over again. I can't do this, I can't do that. And I'm going to keep calling people out on it. I did a video 2 days ago on Instagram and Facebook where I was talking about the pocket of light that was London over New Year. Whatever happens to London in the weeks to come, even if new measures are brought in, although at the moment it's looking unlikely, but we had a free New Year, okay? There was no lockdown, there were no further restrictions. I had 12 family members here 2 days ago. There was just no problem. You can travel anywhere. It's very, very different. I know that in other parts of the world, including other parts of the UK. And I was celebrating that as a pocket of hope. And I said, don't now go and snuff that light and that hope out by just reinforcing again and again, oh, but we can't do it, we are in this, we are, can you feel the difference as soon as you bring up light and then it's like, oh, but we can't. No, let it be infectious. Let the light, let the hope be infectious. It's going to spread around the world if we let it. So this is the thing about watch your mindset, watch your words, okay? We can and we will make these 100 steps, and we're going to be able to see the snakes before they bite us on the backside or before we step on them. And we're going to be on the lookout for the ladders and the pockets of hope or light, which might just be something positive that somebody says. Make sure you get on board and climb up it, okay? Rather than take the ladder away and just bring everybody onto a downward snake, okay, in terms of energy. So owning our power, no playing small. Number 5, I'm not actually quite sure what to say for number 5 because it links into Lord Ganesh. I've just written Lord Ganesh removing obstacles. So we have the energy of Ganesh. I'm not quite sure. Let's just see. I think it's probably, I've said removing obstacles. He's going to be removing obstacles. Okay, the Ganesh energy, there's something here coming through about, I've been channeling for a while about the Ascension wave from east to west. Now, I've talked about Australia and New Zealand. Now, we know that Australia and New Zealand are amongst the most restricted parts of our world at the moment. It's almost like there's a straitjacket being put on them. Sending my love out to those of you that are there. The light will return, is what I want to say. The light will return, and the light workers that are in those 2 countries that are doing a brilliant job of keeping the light alive, well done, keep on going. But I also think we're missing a trick. And I think the trick is this ascension wave from east to west. I think it also links into Eastern deities. No offense to America, but if we look at the other side of the globe, okay, we've got, for example, India, China, Asia in particular, Eastern deities. And then we look to America. We've got Christianity there, we've got all sorts of religions, I understand, but America at the moment needs the world's love because it's so divided. It's so divided. There's so much separation there. There are so many subjects that even as a YouTuber, I just can't even raise, and I'm not talking just politics. And I don't know, I'll do my best through 2022 to help you. I know that there's many people in the States that watch me, but it's just the energy in America at the moment is so fractured. And there's a lot of healing that needs to take place there. And so I don't believe the wave is going to come from there to the rest of the world. I think I still maintain it's coming from east to west, but I think it's linked into the Eastern deities, the rise and the discovery. Metatron's wanted me to show the word variance again, of us opening our hearts and our minds to beautiful beings and energies such as Lord Ganesh, such as Lord Shiva, such as Buddha, that are really going to be game changers for the whole world. And again, this is a hard concept to try and articulate because, again, we hold on to labels and identities and faiths. And I understand that. I grew up as a Christian. Jesus has always been my guide. I'm never going to call myself a Buddhist or a Hindu, because I'm not. But I am a Christian woman who is extremely interested in all of the other world religions and all of the other belief systems, and have complete and utter respect for them. And there's absolutely something I can learn from Ganesh, from Lord Shiva, from Buddha, from the goddesses of the East, etc. And but I'm open to it. I'm open to that. And I think we need to get open to it. And I know many of you are, but many people who are asleep at the moment are not, and get very challenged and very triggered and very angry when you start to say, well, hold on a minute, you know, there's something here that's worth looking at, in that this being has said or is demonstrating, or there's a quality. So the east to west wave is also linked into these deities, feeling it very, very strongly. And yeah, definitely the goddesses as well. I would also include, well, we've already got Quan Yin, haven't we? Think about our range of sprays that we've got. Quan Yin. Let's just bring Quan Yin in at this point. She's just, the spray sitting in front of me. That's a nice colour for this year as well. Olive green, lime green. Quan Yin. And, you know, she's referred sometimes as the Mother Mary of the East. And, of course, we have the Mother Mary of the West. I know it's not the West, but, you know, it's just Mother Mary. And then we've got these two, I'm seeing these two Mother Marys. I mean, you know, that's what I'm seeing. It's like these two, but they're not Mother Marys. It's like these two mother energies, East and West, and they come together, and it's like, it's just like the most extraordinary explosion of love and healing. And when East meets West. And of course, Quan Yin is very associated with mercy and compassion as well. So, (2022), the opening of the flower. Yeah, she showed me the lotus flower. Quan Yin often sits upon, or is depicted upon, sitting upon a lotus flower. And she showed me the lotus flower opening. And it's a lotus flower that is, it's multi-layered. It's got one set of petals, and then there's another set of petals, and then there's another set of petals. It's like double or triple-headed, if there is such a thing. A triple-headed lily and lotus flower is what I'm being shown by her. And it's just the flowering. It's a year of flowering. Beautiful. Okay. Okay, next point. Oh, I didn't say anything about Ganesh particularly. He's being a bit mysterious. Let me just see if I can tune into Ganesh. Okay, I'm being shown the board game again. And you know, the elephant energy. Think about how an elephant moves. When an elephant moves one square or two squares, you know about it, okay? So it's to do with treading very firmly and assuredly through this year that is to come. It's not about tiptoeing through the violets and like, oh, I hope nobody's going to see me. You know, I'm just sort of working my way it doesn't mean you can't be quiet and you can't be, I'm not trying to change people and make everybody into great big thundering, you know, giants. That's not what although we are all giants. I'm just trying to say that your basic nature, if you're shy and retiring, there's nothing wrong with that. That's not what I'm saying. But there's something about being sure-footed. Even if you're a shy and retiring type, be sure-footed in terms of where your next foot is going to go, okay? It's as though every single one of those 100 squares means something and are worth stepping on. But I'm definitely feeling as though all of us, without exception, as we go through next year, there is going to be one or two moments where we come up against an obstacle. This could also be within our own mind, or it could be a physical obstacle in front of ourselves, and we can call on Ganesh. It's almost as though, I can't remember what the game is, maybe it's Snakes and Ladders. I'm being shown an old-fashioned game could be something like Monopoly. No, it's not Monopoly. There's a game where you have like 3 chances, or you have like 3 cards that you pull, and they're like the trump cards basically. So it's like if you get one of the trump cards, and no, I'm not talking Donald Trump. If you get one of the trump cards, it's like a get out of free jail card, or a, you're able to. You've got 3 chances basically. So it's like there's 3 obstacles or 3 things that happen, and it's like Ganesh can come, and it's like we've all got a set of, I'm being now shown a pocket, and it's like there's 3 cards just being put into our top pocket, and we will pull them out when we need them. It's like a get out of trouble type card. Right. Okay, number 6. What is number 6? Okay, number 6. This is a big one, and this requires a whole other video, but the 6th theme is there is a movement to owning responsibility for our own wellness. Now this, again, there's a card in this deck on wellness, which I thought was rather beautiful. This is the Secret Language of Light deck. Again, we are moving into times where, whether we are being forced or whether it is by choice, we are going to have to wise up to the fact that we have to take responsibility for our own wellness, body, mind and soul. It's almost as though if you think about sovereignty, and you think about, just think about sovereignty and self-empowerment, there's something about giving our power away when we always think that we need somebody else to heal us. It doesn't mean that you can't get help, it doesn't mean you can't get support, but essentially you are your own healer. That's what we're going to be stepping into. Many of you I know already know this, but again, there's going to be layers more to discover. That's the card of wellness. So we're coming out of a few years of sickness, basically. The world has been sick in many different ways. The world has been sick, and we're moving into it's a word, I can't quite get it. Not exclamation. I'm just seeing wellness becoming the new God, basically, but the God is an inner God. It's your own inner God. It's like we all become our own masters. It's this Merlin energy. It's as though this person here has discovered that they have the secret within themselves to being able to heal body, mind and soul. So maybe you've been struggling mentally, for example. Again, she's got her sword here, or they've got their sword. They've discovered the sword of truth, that the power lies within them. It always has done. So that is another theme for this year. So the movement to owning responsibility for our own wellness. It's such a big subject, that, guys, because all of us are guilty to a degree for not truly honouring our own body as a temple of the divine. There are varying degrees of abuse that all of us have put our own body through, whether it be through not exercising, eating too much and being obese, drinking too much and affecting your liver, I don't know, working too hard, burning the candle at both ends, drug abuse, I don't know, it just goes on and on and on, doesn't it? There's so many different ways that we don't look after ourselves. But there's definitely a journey back to the self and looking after self as number one priority. As I say, whether it comes in because we have to, or whether it becomes in because we want to, or whether it's a combination of the two, it's definitely a theme for this year. And I'm seeing that 24 adds up to 6, which is this year. And again, if you think about love, number 6 is the energy of love. The best expression of love is self-love. It's, learning to love yourself first. And you don't love yourself properly if you're not looking after yourself, if you're abusing yourself in some way, or denying yourself something in some way. So this is really about listening to the body. So those were my 6 themes. Let's end with, because I can't resist, a card from the Metatron deck. And then we will call it quits for this video. Okay. So, new moon in Capricorn. I know it will be over by the time this uploads for some people in some parts of the world, but let's just see what we get. What's coming in on the back of this new moon in Capricorn, please, Metatron? Karma. Karma with authentic self. Authentic self, I think we've talked quite a lot about in this video. This is about you fully stepping into the complete you, is what I want to say. The complete you. No apologies. You're stepping, oh gosh, you're stepping out from the crowd. Can you see the crowd behind? You're stepping out from the crowd and you're okay with being seen. The card of karma for this new moon in Capricorn, untying the knots, of course, is what it says on the card. Untying the knots. I mean, this is a sacred symbol in its own right. To be able to meditate and focus on the symbol helps you to meditate on karmic relationships that you may have in your life, where you're at with them, what you maybe still need to do to heal. Compassion is a big one at the moment, particularly for people that feel as though they're quite close to closing out karmic patterns in their life, being able to sink into deeper levels of compassion and gratitude for whatever has been playing out. Let's see what else goes with karma. Actually might get a tarot card as well. What goes with karma? Heart healing. The heart. The heart's really the barometer, isn't it, in terms of whether we know whether we have truly been able to forgive or let go or say thank you. You can sort of tell whether you mean it. The heart knows whether you mean it. So the heart is the barometer for how you are faring with regard to working out your karma in this lifetime. I am just going to pull a tarot card before we close. Let's go with this one, because it's the only one it's the one closest. Spirits on Tarot. Okay. Any other message for this reading and for the people watching? Final message, please, for the people watching. The Three of Crystals, which is collaboration and productivity. The Three of Crystals would be the Three of Pentacles. Collaboration and productivity. Three, 6, 9 brings us back to Tesla, doesn't it? Yeah, that's for another day. We need to look at the meaning of 3. We need to look at the meaning of 6. We need to look at the meaning of 9. And what do? We pull them all together. And then the meaning of two, all these 2s this year as well. But anything else? That Three of Crystals card. Why have you come up? What are you wanting to say? Interesting. 3 of Feathers. Yeah, there's definitely something here about the numbers. Maybe it's a nod to me to do a course on numbers. I've got one that I wrote a while back, actually. So maybe this is the year to bring it out. 3, 3. Okay, guys. 3 of Feathers on this is actually 3 of Crystals and 3 of Feathers. I don't know off the top of my head which suits they apply to, but let's just look at the cards and the meaning. collaboration, productivity, release and recovery. So we also have those energies at play as we go into this first month of 2022. Do hope you enjoyed that video. I'll be back soon. Take care of yourselves. Much love for now. Make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Bye for now. Thanks guys. Bye.